Welcome, mages of all ages. Copied from Kitchen. You know that there's a new Arcane Duels League starting tomorrow? No, it started yesterday, but today we have to submit mages. And so Jason and I thought that it's a good time to talk a bit about the new format and about the participants and all this stuff.
Hey there, guys.
So, more content is always appreciated, I guess, at least from my point of view. Everyone who creates additional content helps the community, and so we thought we can talk a bit about those issues. Okay, I'm going to assume that most of you already know that yesterday the groups were finalized. And let's start with Group A, with Sir Jason, Jack's Mag, Were Kingdom, Schneeante, Shupav, and Farkas in it.
I'd actually rather save that group for last, because both of us are in that group. I'd start with Group B first.
Well,
don't mind.
Okay, then we can start with Group B first.
Because that's going to be more neutral and probably less long, because our history with the players wouldn't matter that much. So
Okay.
in Group B, we've got Red Dice Diaries, Shark Bait, Keygen, Knappmaster, Bibliofilter, and Ein Micha. So I'm just going to start with saying that most of those are pretty good players. Keygen, well, he's usually at the front of most tournaments.
Yeah, he placed second in the last DM, German Championship.
Yes, against you, notably, in a Druid Mirror match, and he already won the first Druid Mirror match against you, and then lost Druid Mirror match in the finals.
Over time, but yeah.
So we all know Keygen's style of bleeding the opponent out and waiting until he no longer has any cards and playing his mage ones one after another and swapping them out so you can't dissolve them. I think from a strategic point of just surviving and bleeding out the opponent, there's no one playing the style better than him. Yeah, some people call it annoying.
I've watched not his latest game, but the game he played with his Anvil Throne Warlord against Red Dice Diaries Paladin. He uploaded this, I think, 10 days ago, or, well, I don't know, a few weeks ago. And there he did exactly what you just said. But I'm not sure if he always plays like this. I mean,
he doesn't always play it, but it's his signature style, I'd say. Yeah,
he has many different books, and he tries. I think he tries new stuff regularly. So this is actually something I wanted Arcane Duels to talk about, because they mainly talked about the strength, how strong a player is. But this is not the only thing that counts. Another important thing is how competitive they play. What I mean with that is, Kitchen has a lot of different decks. And I'm not sure, or I'm rather sure, that he's not going to play with the strongest deck all matches. And if you're a really competitive player, you should play with your strongest decks, with the decks you think have the highest chance of success. But for example, with Kitchen, I can imagine him not doing that. And if we compare that with Knappmaster, Knappmaster plays Necro and Wizard all the time. Those two mages are his primary mages.
Recently built this Paladin that just goes for Aaron first turn and doesn't even put any immediate or healing over time onto Aaron, and gets out some other creatures, like usually with the Paladin's banner card, he just gets out 2 red hands, and then he adds either Megaddon or Dorsois. I've seen both.
Megaddon.
And then he suddenly has a squad of 4 really strong hitters, and uses the mage to support them and plays ballistas and plays the pillar. So that one's also pretty strong.
Yep,
lost twice against it.
My point is that
He's playing his best books.
Exactly. Knapp is focusing on a few books and is really doing good work with those books. So let's say he has 3 strong books and he's going to play with those books. And Kietjen probably has books that are as good as Knapp's books. Question is he going to play with them?
He's going to play 4 fun books in the group stage and 1 serious book at the end, when it finally matters and he really needs to win.
See, and this is the problem when judging who's going to advance.
Well, then, what would you judge Red Dice Diaries higher if he plays Paladin or if he plays your books again?
Red Dice Diaries should play with the books that he's most comfortable with playing.
Yep. I actually think he has a good shot at this tournament because Paladin is rather versatile. He can adjust to most of the mages. Well, he knows what's coming, and he's played lots of different versions of the Paladin.
Yeah, when we talked earlier, not on stream, but you made a very good point that Druid and Necromancer are actually at a slight disadvantage from regular gaming because both of them have hard counters and many books are not generally using them. For example, if you play against Druid and you know you are going to play against Druid, you can think, okay, maybe I'm going for the tree first, and for that I need a fireball. So you include in your book a fireball that is not normally there, so you have a small edge in that regard. And against Necromancer it's even worse, because who will not include a Pillar of Righteous Flame if he sees that his opponent is a Necromancer? So even if your book normally doesn't have a Pillar of Righteous Flame, you are going to include one if you face Necromancer.
So even I will.
So even this match, so this format really makes Druid and especially Necromancer weaker. And this is a good thing, I think. I mean, it strengthens other mages. As you said, Paladin, very, very versatile. He can do so many different openings, or Warlock as well. So I kind of like the general setup of this format.
Yep.
So
with the next players.
Yeah, we talked about Kietjen and Knapp.
And well, we've already touched on Red Dice.
And Red Dice as well, okay.
Yeah, Sharkbait, well, he's just a solid player. I know him as a Warlock player, and I just really dislike the way he always played his Warlock better than I play mine, even though I tend to think of that as my mage. So I just hope I'm getting out of group, he's getting out of groups, and we can maybe somewhat settle that score. I actually don't know that much about his play style, though, because of the time zone difference, and he usually plays when, well, we're already at bed.
Yeah, my problem with Sharkbait is, from all the people in Group B, Sharkbait is the one I play less frequently against. Well, I haven't played against Sharkbait, I think, since my tournament match, where I faced him with my Siren. So that's a month ago. So it's hard for me to judge Sharkbait, how good he is, but I know that he plays very often against Koschei trainings matches, and I have seen him yesterday playing, I think, 4 matches against Red Dice. So I think obviously he has a lot of playing experience. He's, I think, another of those people who's not necessarily playing with his best mages from the start.
I expect him to play some of his best books at the start. I don't know why. I just expect him to start out strong and then maybe play the fun books later when he already knows he's winning or already has some points. I expect him to try hard, actually.
I would appreciate that.
Not actually the same with Biblo. I expect Biblo to start out with something like a Paladin or something that isn't really considered top tier. So yeah, I know we're not going to start a tier war right here, but I don't think he's going to start with a Necro or a Druid or a Wizard or Priestess, but more with one of those middle of the pack fighting mages to test the waters, to see how much the adjusting is going to net him and give him.
And we earlier said that actually in this format, Paladin and Warlock have an edge because they are so versatile.
Yeah, I've seen him play Paladin quite a bit lately. He's played a Paladin on the last German Nationals. I just somewhat expect him to play it. He also likes to play an early pillar, so that would fit into the book nicely. But
Yeah,
lastly, there's Ein Micha. Well, he's just a good player. He's one of my regular opponents.
I have
And
played against him, I think, only once in the last month. And he plays Beastmaster? Or Nature Mage, at least, I think. No?
yeah, I usually I usually get into the matches and think like, yeah, Warlock is pretty good against Beastmaster, and then he runs me around the map for a while. And the end is kind of a toss-up, so he's pretty good with the Beastmaster.
Is he the one playing with the totem?
I think he's tried it out for a while.
Yeah, I think so. I hope
And
he's not going to play with Kintrip, exactly with Kintrip in the tournament, because you are at a disadvantage. It's not a strong build. I mean, it's fun, yes, and it's nice to try it, but if you try hard, you shouldn't play with that mage. But he's probably doing it anyway because he played like many games with them, and he wants, yeah, maybe he wants to try it under real circumstances. So, yeah.
Yep. Well, we'll see what he brings to the table.
Okay, what are your predictions? Who are the two people who advance in Group B?
I don't really see Knappmaster not advancing. And I think Red Dice and Micha just aren't as good as the other four. So that leaves 3 question marks to me. Shark, Kijin, and Biblo. And if we just go by player strength, as you said, that doesn't really make a good prediction. If we go by tendencies, I think Sharkbait is going to start out with strong books and then take it from there. And Kijin, I think I agree with you. He's going to start out with fun books. And if that backfires hard at the beginning, it might just go like the ADMW2, where he just didn't get out of grid.
Yeah.
As for Biblo, I think it's Knappmaster getting out and either Sharkbait or Biblo. I'd actually say Sharkbait, but it's a toss-up.
I see. Funny thing, I agree with Knappmaster because, as we said earlier, I think he has a few books that he is really honing, and this is a good format for that. And he's not saying, "Oh no, I'm not playing with my Necromancer or my Wizard because I play with them all the time." No, he's exactly playing with those mages. So I think Knappmaster is probably going to make it, and I think Biblo is Kitchen. If Kitchen and Biblo fight, I think Kitchen wins. Kitchen wins most of the games, so I think it's Kitchen, Sharkbait, or Red Dice Diaries. Maybe you are underestimating Red Dice. I could see him winning. I could see him advancing. I could also see Sharkbait and Kitchen advancing, obviously. But I think if I just go with player skill, I just hope Kitchen has learned his lesson from the ADMW, the last one, and is playing with mid-range or good mages, so I'm going with Knappmaster and Kitchen.
Well then, off to Group A. There we have the notorious Jason Crate. We have Jacksmack, Were Kingdom, Shupa, Farkas, and last but not least, Schnee Ente, the Snow Duck.
True enough.
Yeah, 2 of those don't really need an introduction. We are not going to shower each other or ourselves with praise here.
Okay.
So we've got Jacksmack, Were Kingdom, Shupa, and Farkas to talk about.
So
yeah, Jacksmack, as far as I know, has won the first ADMW. If I'm correct.
Might be.
Were Kingdom has won the second ADMW. You have won 2 German nationals in a row. And yeah, that's not the kind of company I wanted to be in a group with.
Yeah, I remember my game against Jacksmack in the first ADMW, where I think I played the Priestess and a single mistake messed it up. Well, it was so annoying, and well, and I remember the pressure he's able to apply, and I know he hasn't played a lot during the last month. He hasn't played at all, but like Julie, you don't lose your skill. So look, Julie came back, I think, yesterday or 3 days ago, and he's already winning every single game I'm watching. So
He just told me he lost one earlier, but I think that's still just one game out of playing 3 days almost non-stop.
yeah,
It's rather impressive.
yeah. I mean, from the games I've seen, he has won 5 games and lost 0, and all against good opponents. So, and
Yep.
I think the same is with Jack Smack. He is a very good player, and that he didn't play in a long time, I don't think that makes him worse. I don't think so. So he's actually, yeah, my favorite to advance, sadly. And yeah, so Jack Smack, every single move brings him towards the goal, and he's not playing for bot dominance, but for killing you. And this is very, yeah, he's good at that. Let's keep it at that. And I think he's going to play with good mages as well. So he's not going to say, okay, let's go with Siren. I don't think so. He's ambitious. Not sure if that's the right word, but I think he wants to win the group stage, and he's not going to, to use a mage he knows is inferior. Just because of the fun. He didn't play for a long time, so he can just play Druid, Necromancer, whatever.
Yeah, I actually know nothing about his playstyle. That's one of the things I really don't like about the group. I mean, Jacksmack and Ware Kingdom, I barely see them play at all. They are rather unpredictable for me. With Shoepath, well, you always know he's just gonna throw some sort of curveball at you. Talking about strong books, one of his strongest books, I think it was him who played it, was the Jogtari with the hyper enchanted Leviathan. Yesterday I saw him play Siren with 2 water elementals. I just say he's always good for a surprise.
But the Arcane Duels guy said that he always does the same, but I have to disagree. He does have a tendency to buff one single creature and chase you around with that creature, but he can play many different playstyles. I have played against him, and he's not always using that strategy. So I know he's a good player, and he has versatility.
Yeah, I think playing against him just somewhat comes down to luck, or is the guy where luck plays the biggest role, because you either have a counter to his weird book and what the book is built around, or you're just gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the format. You know that you're going to face him. Just put in a purge in case he goes for hyper enchant, and you are fine. Yeah. That's actually something I don't
You
like.
should expect that. Everyone's going to bring at least one purge against you.
At least one purge, wow. Ware Kingdom. Ware Kingdom obviously beat me in the ADMW finals, but I think he is another one who's not necessarily bringing his best decks. For example, he took a Warlock with Adramalek for the ADMW finals. That's normally a book that you would at best in overall strength rank in the middle. There are a ton of books, even Warlock books, that you can that are from a power level perspective are stronger, because Adramalek really isn't strong. It's a nice deck and it's a nice idea. No, that's not what I'm talking about. But Adramalek is 24 mana for I think 14 life and 3 armor. There are so many decks who can kill him easily with a fraction of mana cost, and that, yeah. So what I want to say is, although Ware Kingdom is a very good player, I don't think that he's a tryhard or no, tryhard is a bad word. How are they called? A spike. Yeah, there are 3 player types in Magic, and I don't think Were Kingdom is a spike. So, and people who are not spikes are at a disadvantage in this matchup, in this format.
Well, would you say I'm a Timmy player? Because I consider myself a Timmy player.
What mages did you play last ADMW?
Last ADMW, I wanted to save my Warlock for the later stages of the game. So I started out with a Jogtari winning against the Warlock. Then I played my Lightning Beetle Druid against Farkas.
Wow.
And won against his Wizard because he didn't time his Purge magic at the last turn right and then lost by 1 HP. That could have been prevented.
Yeah, but the fact alone that you use a Beetle Druid in a tournament
makes me a Timmy player.
Exactly. Yeah.
I then played against Kijin and hyperbuffed my Paladin. And in the turn before he played Purge, I decided to use the Breastplate for another guard, and then did not have the mana for my Cassiel to place a Wardstone. It was already equipped on Cassiel. And then the next turn he purged me and killed 5 of my enchants or something and won the game. And the last of those games was my Wolverine Beastmaster against Romeo's Druid that got absolutely destroyed because the Thorndashers have no reason at all to attack the Wolverines, and the Wolverines just weren't able to kill them. That was a sad match. Yeah, I'm definitely going to play Warlock this tournament, and I don't expect you to upload this video before they announce the majors, so I can just admit it, I'm going to play Warlock in my first match.
I see.
Yeah.
The thing is, that probably wasn't that good of you to tell me, because it could happen that we are going to face off each other.
Nope, I'm playing Farkas.
Nope. Actually, I asked Puttenhead earlier if the challenge group stages are the way we fight, but they aren't. So they are shuffling again.
They are shuffling that again. Well, then now you know I'm going to play the Warlock.
Okay, to make it, I haven't decided what mage I play yet, to be honest, but I was considering Warlock as well. So now you know something as well. No, the male one.
The one where you hyperbuff your creatures.
Psst. Don't. Okay, so we talked a bit about okay, so Farkas is
missing. Yeah, I beat Farkas in the last ADMW. I expect I can do it again.
Okay.
And I haven't really seen him play since then, because with the different time zones again, we don't really watch each other play too much.
I see. Yeah, that's...
I think the same goes for you, so we could just skip to the next segment. One interesting thing, what does this format mean to the generally accepted mage tier list? And yes, I already hear Red Dice harking on about it, but we are just going to assume that people agree with this. Usually, Druid and Necro are considered very strong, Wizard and Priestess just behind that, and then most 9 mana mages after that. Force Master, everyone considers her differently. Depends on the player, but she's also at the top. And then in the last places, we've got the Priest, we've got the Siren, Jogtari, and maybe the Warlord. But the Warlord, I think people are getting used to him now. So, with this tournament format, we've got 2 things to consider. A, you're able to counter build, and B, you've got unlimited time. That, from the beginning, benefits Holy, because they like long games. Druid, because she likes long games. Necro likes long games, so that's still conforms to the usual tier list. What throws a curveball in there is the counter ability, because with a Necro, you just know he is going to play dead creatures. So you can pack some Dazzles, you can pack the Pillar, everyone's going to bring the Pillar against the Necro. You can, on the other side, one thing that Necro really benefits from is when he faces a Warlock, and then he knows, well, there's probably 2 Ghoul Rods in there, there's probably some Lifesteal in there, there's probably, I don't know, a few Poison Bloods in there, and then the Necro is kind of happy about that, because those are cards that are dead weight against him. It's not going to happen. He's also not going to face anyone who has 2 Emerald Tegus in there trying to spread rods.
Nope.
It probably actually benefits those mages who can bring rot in their books, because usually you always ran the risk of walking into a Necro and then your 4 Tegu Beastmaster with 4 bats was absolutely toast. That could actually be viable in this tournament. So Beastmaster suddenly got a lot stronger by the sole fact that he's going to know if he's facing a Necro or not.
Fair point.
Other mages that I see winning out just because of this change, well, we mentioned it, the Warlock, he can play solo, he can play curses, he can play fire damage, he can play melee, he can go for creatures, for dead creatures, for living creatures, he can pack an idol if he wants to. He has Deathlock in school, he can go for lots of regeneration or none at all and play Deathlock. There's a lot of variety in what that particular mage can bring. I'd also count the Warlord actually in the versatile camp, because he basically knows how many teleports he needs to bring or how many dispels he needs to bring. Against a druid, for example, most warlords only have 1 teleport. Against a druid, you know, okay, there's going to be Tanglevines. I'm either going to bring Upheaval, or just a few more teleports to get around, or to just move the plants away from me.
That's another good point that you should consider if you play against druid. You can just include at least 1 upheaval, because you know you are going to face Tanglevine. You know it for a fact. So just take 1 upheaval.
Also, the Warlord technically has the ability to go for a Magma Golem against a Druid. Yeah, it's a niche creature, but I think it works well against Druid and Necro. He can also just go for the normal Iron Golems and throw a curveball at everyone who tries Psychic or Poison stuff. If he knows he's going to go against the Force Master, for example, he just doesn't bring anyone who gets deterred by Mind Control.
Yeah, true.
Archforge Knights work the same. If you go against the Siren, you can just get the Red Helms and they are immune to Psychic effect. Well, you're probably not going to face a Siren.
I just realized that Force Master gets debuffed because of the new format, because if I know I'm going to face Force Master, I'm going to include some more unavoidable stuff and stuff to get rid of Mind Control, for example.
There's going to be 6 Flame Blasts coming at him if I play against the Force Master. And I'll also know to bring more Dispersers, because he is going to enchant me. He is going to enchant himself. That's just coming off all of that.
Okay, so which mages would you say benefit from the new format and which don't benefit, and who are neutral?
Well, we could go through the whole tier list from bottom to the top, let's say. The Siren. I actually see the Siren benefiting from this, because she has a real problem with preparing for everything that's coming at her. She's just too weak if she spreads out her strength. But there's some things she's really good at, and one of those is undressing someone, getting rid of all their enchants and their, especially their equipments. So I actually see her getting a bit stronger, just not strong enough to really be viable. Priest.
Wait. Yeah. Siren, I agree that she gets stronger. Normally, my problem with Siren is I don't like to play her, because if I face a druid, I'm at such a big disadvantage that I just don't want to risk it. Now that I know... Actually, this is still a problem, because I have to say...
Yeah, you still randomly run into druids. I mean, you have Elemental Wand in school, and you can bring more fire spells.
Yeah,
I think it balances out some of her weaknesses, but she's still too weak against, for example, the druid.
Yeah, I agree that she gets a bit stronger, but not much. Okay, Priest?
Absolutely gets destroyed by the change. Priest is absolutely in the gutter. He only has one school.
Yeah.
He has nothing to do outside of that school. He can go melee with one body. He can go melee without a body, but that already wastes one of his abilities. And he is dependent on using light spells. If he faces anyone in the dark school, he can be sure to get at least 2 or even 3 Cloaks of Shadow in there. If no one's going to bring anything unliving against him, people will know to bring anti-heal.
I see.
Okay.
I don't think Priest probably gets a bit weaker. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Priest absolutely lost with this change. Jogtari.
Actually, I think nature mages are pretty versatile. If they know whom they face, they can change their book accordingly. So
especially, they can now bring the whole poison squad.
Yeah.
True. And I think Beastmasters right now, or generally nature right now, is balanced around the fact that they just can't go for the heavy poison and heavy bleed route, because Necros would just destroy them. But if you can play dire wolves without fear of running into zombies, if you can play tegus, if you can play, well, even the bats and the dark fan asps, that's a huge advantage. I think.
Well, I'm looking forward to see someone playing it. And you are right, it's an advantage. So she's probably getting a boost. Yeah. Because they are so versatile. Yeah, I think you can say the more versatile someone is, the better they get because of the format. The less versatile someone is, the worse for them, because Necro is not versatile. You know exactly what to expect. This is why Necro is getting the biggest debuff. Druid is...
Druid is nature, and because of that, versatile. And we've also seen druids rely on plants, and other druids rely on bears, like you, for example. Druid is versatile, but really doesn't want to face too much fire. Just generally doesn't want to.
The only thing that burns in my deck is my tree.
Yeah.
So.
And everyone's going to have a fireball against your tree. I mean, yes, you can defend the tree, you can see it coming, but there's going to be at least one fireball in case you play a lot of plants. Or even if you don't play a lot of plants, you have that one tree that is a prime target for this one fireball.
Yeah, okay. So they get a bit, they get a debuff.
I also will definitely, if I play, let's say, a paladin, I will change around my strategy to know I have to get out early dice. I can't do any build-up.
One more thing. I could upload it right away because we don't know our opponents anyway. So it doesn't matter that you said you're going to play with Warlock.
Yes. Okay, yeah, if it changes around, nobody knows. Yep. Well, all 5 of you are going to say, well, I'm going to play Necro now.
Yeah, but if you go with heavy fire, well.
So, yes. Other mages. Yeah, Force Master is taken down a peg.
Yeah, I guess so.
Priestess
well
stays roughly in the same place.
No. If I'm going to face a priestess, no matter which mage I'm going to play, I just include a Deathlock. And with Deathlock, you mess up the priestess heavily. So I think the priestess actually gets a debuff from because not everyone the priestess hates Deathlock, and everyone is going to include a Deathlock, so that's a disadvantage, and a big disadvantage. Paladin it is totally versatile, can be played in so many different ways, so he gets definitely a buff. Same with the male warlock. And actually, the female warlock, I think she does not get a buff, because you only really play her with fire. And
she's because not as versatile.
Exactly, because the male warlock does everything else better than she does, except fire. So if you want to go with creatures, go with a male warlock. So actually the female Adramelech warlock gets a huge debuff. Except the player is faking it. So he says, okay, I'm going to play with Adramelech. Your opponent thinks, okay, I'm going to include 4 Dragon Scale Hauberks, 2 mental, you know the stuff, stuff against fire. And then she goes with, okay, I don't have fire, I don't have curses, I go with creatures, and nobody expected it. So
yeah, but she's not really good with creatures. Even if she goes with creatures, one of her abilities still needs burns on the opponents.
I agree. She gets a debuff.
It's no real.
The male Beastmaster gets a small buff because of the same reasons, like Jogtari.
Same reasons as Jogtari. I think he's still a bit stronger than her.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, then we have the 2 warlords left.
I think that it's really hard to say. I mean, if you're facing a dwarf warlord, you know to expect equipments, and you're going to pack 2 more crumbles than usual, 1 more dissolve, and at least some disable equip so you can get around the gloves.
Yeah, you're right.
I think the dwarf stays roughly in the same place. He's rather versatile because he can always just include ones and play around what the opponent does and all that, but he's not that good with creatures. You expect him to go solo with at least a body or 2, but he can't change his playstyle around that much.
And another problem, a big problem for the warlord, in my opinion, is if I'm going to face a warlord, I probably expect him not to have a purge. So I can go with heavy enchant, and heavy enchant is super strong if your opponent doesn't have a purge.
Well, they are going to bring one anyway. I think you especially should always expect your opponent to have a purge, even if it's a warlord.
Well,
the other warlord, though, I think the orc is pretty well off.
I agree.
He can go melee, he can just go for golems, because the golems get veteran markers anyway. He could go for a barracks build, for an aggressive build with, I don't know, a frontline ballista and trolls. He can just decide not to go trolls if he's against dark and expects a deathlock. He can swarm the opponent, he can hyper buff someone, he can hyper buff himself. I think
agree.
The green warlord is actually the better warlord for once.
The orc, yeah.
So, did we leave anyone out? Well, the siren, no, we touched the siren at the start.
I think, wizard.
Wizard, actually, yes, he's the versatile mage, but I think he doesn't get any stronger than he already is. He just stays in the same place.
Let me think about it a second. If I'm going to face a wizard,
you're going to bring less enchants because you know he has.
Do I? I'm not sure.
I think, if I play a wizard, I'm going to be less reliant on enchantments. I'm going to bring more crumbles for the wands, and I'm probably going to rely on creatures because I feel, at least, that the wizard is very good at removal, and you can't just remove creatures. So that's one thing I do against the wizard, but it still doesn't really weaken him a lot. He still has tons of in-school counters for most of the other mages. He can adapt his books really well. I just expect him to, from power level, stay in the same place he is right now. He might bring some ice if he knows he doesn't face any ice-immune zombies.
Okay, so
that's it, I'd say. We've got all the mages, we got both groups, we've covered the format and what we think, what effect it has on the mages. I actually think it's a really, really nice idea, and I'm looking forward to most of the matches.
Yeah, so do I. Let's see, did we... Yeah, it's long enough. I mean, people are probably not going to listen anyway till 45 minutes. I thought when we started and you asked me how long do you think it takes, I said 10 to 15 minutes, so...
Yeah, we already got over 40, so let's wrap it up right here.
Yeah, and I can upload it right now, I think. I mean,
Yeah,
it
just
doesn't
upload
really
it. I don't
matter.
think I'm really weakened by people
Yeah.
knowing I play Warlock.
I agree. Okay, was nice
Well
talking
then,
to you, and
see you on the battlefield.
see you on the battlefield. Bye.
Bye.